We are at Inman Las Vegas. It is a jam-packed week. Yesterday we started off with being on the Wealthy Creator podcast. Then we were on the Ryan Pineda podcast. Now today we're hosting a learning lab here at Inman. Tomorrow we got 2 sessions for the learning lab. Then on Thursday we're going to Sean Kelly's podcast. And then might as well just stay for the whole weekend for some R&R. But otherwise, jam-packed week. This is going to be an amazing event. Let's check it out.
Okay, let's do this thing.
Hey, do we have any advanced YouTubers in here? Or are we all beginners? Who's starting out their YouTube journey? Okay, all right. So no advanced. All right, if anybody's got a quick question, raise your hand. We got a nice gentleman to do the mic running real quick. We'll give him any questions real quick? And I pulled up, I was going to pull up my channel now. It's making me verify real quick, which is nice anytime that you're on hotel Wi-Fi.
So you needed the extra time anyway.
Exactly. Well, normally I don't pull up my channel on the back end, but since we're all here, for those of you that have channel, this would be more advanced. That's why I was asking if there's any advanced YouTubers in here. So if I just show you the back-end analytics of the channel live, which I'll make a couple of points about it, but I normally don't bring this up. But if there's any questions on there right now, then you can just kind of see what it looks like for some of the stats we have. Any questions? No?
What's your
Oh, right here. That's the first one I saw.
I have a question regarding.
Yeah.
I have a question regarding shorts.
Yep.
Do you post shorts? How often do you post shorts? And also, when you do, I post almost every day. I have no life, and so like putting in a location, putting in the language, the tags, all that. How much is all that relevant to the algorithms that you've seen with your experience?
Okay, great question. Y'all want to come in? Y'all want to come in and grab seats? Y'all can come in and grab seats. So the question was about shorts. If you notice, if you look on our channel, we don't do a lot of shorts. I would say experimented with shorts twice in my YouTube career. Once whenever they first came out, and once a little bit last year. So I think the jury's still out on that. The thing is that we'll talk about in the presentation today, like interruption versus intention-based marketing. And you have to think about people that are in short form content are not necessarily intentional. They're not looking for something. I mean, you're almost like one thumb swipe away from the next video. And I don't know of a high conversion ratio on YouTube of shorts. I don't really know of any channels that can really point to a significant amount of business from shorts. Could they jump some views? Yes. Actually, I had a channel that we were working with, and they went young 20s, right? They're young 20-year-olds. And they're definitely more driven towards short form content. For over a year, they were posting heavy on shorts, and they started right from the beginning, which is something that we don't normally recommend on YouTube. I do believe on YouTube you want to build your foundation with long form content because it's a long form platform. So I didn't experiment with shorts until a year and a half into the journey because shorts weren't even available. So, I didn't have the distraction. But this channel that we worked with, because they're in their early 20s, they're like, we got to do some shorts. And I'm like, I'm not sure if that's the right play, but you know what? We got to check it out. Well, they had several go viral. One with 800,000 views, one 600, 300, and they were getting consistently 5, 10K views on these shorts. And their long form content never, ever really took off.
Were they building subs from the short form?
Yeah, well, yeah, they were building subs, not as fast as we did. And the point that I'm getting to, though, is that after a year, whenever we were checking in, talking, when I kept up with them, they had not turned over a single transaction. Not a single transaction. I was blown away by that, but and I don't know if you can recover if you try to build off of a foundation of short form content if you can role reverse that. So we got two different channels mainly for real estate agents, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. We've got our real estate client-facing channel. We have a real estate agent-facing channel that's more like education towards agents, and that's something where I've posted a lot of shorts to, and I think it's completely messed with the long-form content on there, and I can't pinpoint anything to as analytical as long-form content. Now, shorts are getting picked up in search now. Before, when they were launched a year and a half ago, they weren't search-based. So it was all virality. And that's why I stopped the first time. I started posting for about 3 weeks, a short every day. They would flatline, spike for 1,000 views in an hour, and then flatline, like literally just dead. And I just assumed, I thought, that couldn't be reaching my ideal target audience. You know, you're not going to reach 1,000 people searching for Dallas, Texas real estate in that time frame. So I don't think they're a bad thing. I think if you want to incorporate them on your channel, there is a place for them. I just wouldn't probably place it as a primary focus, okay? If that makes sense. But I would definitely build off the foundation of long form first, and then that, I think, gives you opportunity, because once you build that foundation, you start turning over transactions. It's hard. I would say it's hard to damage your channel at that point. Doing things from the beginning, which I'll cover here in just a second, really kind of sets it off. So let me pop this up and we'll get started. I think we got a safe buffer now, and I was more concerned about people being here, so we have something to talk about. And we'll kick it off. There's some open seats. Does anybody have an open seat beside them? Please raise your hand. Anybody want to be friendly? No? Okay, y'all just want to stand? All right. Okay, there's seats though, if y'all want them. So we'll get into this. So we like to call this passive prospecting, and that way you never have to cold call, door knock, or spend money on ads ever again if you don't want to. Those types of lead generation can be effective. You have to ask yourself, are they the most efficient though, especially in this day and age? So this is what we're going to cover today. My name is Levi Lascsak, by the way. My business partner, Travis, he was actually nice enough to scan badges out there. Appreciate you, Travis. He's always here to support and has been very instrumental in our business. So I always say thank you to him. But let me give you a little bit of background. So we were brand new agents a short time ago, which means I sold 0 homes in 2020, released the first YouTube video on December 5th of 2020, and sold 0 homes in Q1 of 2021, which is exactly why you're all here to listen to me, right? Good track record. I love coming to these conferences because everybody on stage is always like, I sold $1 billion in real estate, or we did 1,500 transactions last year, and then I get up here and I'm like, all right, well, we sold not that much, no, to start out. But that's how it started, okay? So the first video, now, it took about 90 days to get the first deal under contract from YouTube, but then we closed the first 2 transactions in April of 2021. So here's what happened on the back end of the 9 months, is we generated 690 leads from the channel. We closed 64 transactions, 33.5 million in volume, and just over 1,007,000 really in our first full year of real estate. Now, what I love about YouTube is the compound effect, and this is what happened in 2022, was we generated 1,958 leads, so we averaged 5.4 inbound leads per day from the channel. That resulted in 156 transactions. We did 86.1 million in volume and just over 2.3 million in GCI. And the first half of this year, and everybody says, oh yes, well 2022 was great, right? Well, at least the first half of the year was great. Back half, a little interesting. But in this market, at 7% interest rates, so this is what's happened so far through June. Okay, lead count is down, but conversion is up. 14% conversion, but still we've done over 30 million in volume from our YouTube channel still this year with 7% interest rates and almost $1 million in commissions. So I would rather have that in place than not have it in place. Does that make sense? And so with the higher conversion rate, even though lead flow is a little bit down, we know these people are especially intentional. And so I always think about, why do agents fail? A lot of reasons, but most start with very little money. They come into the business less than $5,000 to their name, so that doesn't leave them any room for marketing. That's why they end up cold calling and door knocking or talking to friends and families, because they don't have a marketing budget. Even according to NAR on their website, agents with less than 2 years of experience make on average $8,800 a year. I don't know about you, but I could not live off of that. So that's why they get out of the business. Rejection. If you're cold calling and door knocking and talking to your friends and family, nobody likes to get rejected. And if you go through that enough, you're kind of like, this is not really for me. And it's not effective at lead generation. That's really the key thing, I believe. If you're not effective at lead generation, it's going to be very hard to stay in business for very long. So we got to figure out how to do that. Well, why YouTube? Whenever I was looking at making the move into real estate, I wanted to understand this word attraction was really stuck in my head. And I was thinking about, is there a way to attract business versus pursue it, versus chasing after people all the time? Well, I started to look at random suburbs of Dallas online to see what the search volume was. Now, Plano, Texas, a major suburb of Dallas, gets about 90,500 searches per month on Google. But whenever I looked on YouTube, it gets 834,000 searches per month. That's almost 10 times the volume on YouTube than it is on Google. So that right there started to tell me that people are actually searching for this information, want to see it through video versus maybe just read about it online. Plus, you think about if they're moving around or moving to an area, they want to get a better idea of what it looks like. Now, this is what led me to discover what we like to call the passive prospecting principles. And you will learn some very key things today. So this I want to help kind of adjust your mindset whenever it comes to marketing, because all of us have been exposed to, and you might have conducted this in your current business, which is interruption marketing. That is cold calling, it's door knocking, it's billboards, magazine ads, it's TV commercials. You think about that, you could see a dog food commercial 10 times a day. It doesn't mean you're going to run out and buy dog food, right? But you pour out that last bowl of dog food, and none of us want Fluffy to die. So we say, okay, I have to go buy dog food, right? I'm going to go to the store, go directly to the dog food aisle, get it, or I'm going to go on Amazon and buy it. You see, when you have intention to buy something, do you need any marketing or advertising to convince you that you need that? So the question is, do you believe people become intentional about buying or selling their next home? And whenever they do that, do they go into research mode and start searching? Or do we want to just interrupt people every single day when we have no clue whatsoever when they'll ever be in the market or if they're ready to even buy or sell a home? So that's what we're doing. If we're cold calling, I mean, nobody likes to get that phone call in the middle of dinner about your car warranty, right? Because you're like, I'm not in the market for a car warranty. How could it be expired? I just bought my car 2 months ago. That's not right. Doesn't make sense. But clearly it must work because they have to do it over and over and over, and it becomes repetition. But if we look at the back-end analytics of our channel, the reason I pull this up is because to paint this picture, they say 80% of the traffic online is mobile. But if you look at the back-end analytics of our channel, 55% of our traffic comes from TV, computer, and tablet. Those are research devices. But look at this, almost 30% of our traffic comes from TV, which tells us people are sitting on their couch, maybe even laying in bed, watching Dallas, Texas real estate videos. How intentional do you think those people are? Do you think they're getting ready to make a move? Well, the cool thing is that they also say that attention spans are dead these days. That's why you're supposed to be this dancing real estate agent on TikTok, right? But they say, look at the view durations on TV, 9 minutes and 39 seconds, average view duration, computer 552, tablet 623, but even better, when YouTube suggests our videos, and YouTube's #1 goal is time on platform. They want people to stay on the platform as long as possible, so they're only going to suggest videos to people that they believe will watch that video. They want to serve the right video to the right person. So if they do that, look at that average view duration, 10 minutes and 48 seconds. They say it takes over 6 minutes of content consumption online for somebody to start to develop a relationship with you. Well, if you're posting shorts or short form content, if that's 30-second videos, that could take 12 videos just for them to even recognize you again. And how often are they going to come across 12 of your videos just in a feed, especially if they jump off of it very quickly and it tells the algorithm that maybe they're not interested in your content in the first place. But here, 10 minutes and 48 seconds, so we're capturing them on that first video view duration. That's why last year, average contact under contract was 51 days, meaning the first time anybody reached out to us cold to us. We never met them before. They reached out to us. We got them under contract in less than 2 months. That's how intentional they were. It changes the ball game. Global versus local. It's one thing to farm out your local neighborhood, very important. But have you ever wanted to expand or do business outside of your neighborhood or your city or your state or the United States? Would you ever market to Belgium or Australia? Probably not. I wouldn't either. But the thing is that you look at the views on our channel. Again, this is why we love passive prospecting. Who's ever cold called at 2 in the morning? Nobody? Door knocked at 3 a.m.? Okay. I didn't think so, but look at this. 69 people watching at 2 in the morning, 70 people watching at 3 in the morning. Do you think those people are intentional? Now, they may not be local either. They could be on the other side of the world. I mean, in the UK, 3 a.m. is 9 a.m. Or in Japan, it's 5 p.m. And that's why we've had several deals like this. We get emails every day and it says, I'm a family with 6 and 2 cats. Originally from Florida, but living abroad in Belgium for the past 6 years. Would we ever market to Belgium? No. But guess what? They're getting transferred to Dallas, Texas. And what do they start doing? You think they're just going to come into town on a random weekend and look at homes? No, they start researching. They're going online and looking for it. This guy, Rich, hey, been watching your channel for a year, moving next month from the Philippines. So look at that key thing he said, watching your channel for a year, moving next month within 30 days, that's when he reached out to us. We never knew this person existed and we would never market to the Philippines. And we've helped people move from Australia, from South Korea, from Japan, from Canada, from the UK, because they find our channel. So this gives us a global presence without any ad spend. And that's one thing I forgot to mention, by the way, all those transactions that I showed you earlier, 0 ad spend. 0. All organic from YouTube. Now, the number one reason people tell me they don't get started on YouTube is because it takes time. YouTube does not take time, it makes you time. So this one video took me 30 minutes to make, and it's been watched 11,600 hours. If I offered you 30 minutes, and you give me 30 minutes, I'll give you back 11,595 hours to go spend with your family or your friends or your relatives or to go on vacation. Would you take that trade? Well, that's what it's doing. So it's like I profited off of that 30-minute investment, in my opinion, 11,595 hours because it's been watched that much. But I'll take it even a step further and say that YouTube doesn't just make time, it compounds your time. And this is really my favorite concept. Because whenever I started to look at this, this blew me away. You know, our channel was watched 1,514 hours in one day. You divide that by 24 hours in a day, that's equivalent to 63 days of prospecting. Okay? And then in 1 month, our channel was watched 11,800 hours. You divide that by 24 hours in a day, that's 1.34 years. And last year in 2022, our channel was watched 104,600 hours. You divide that by 24 hours in a day, that's equivalent to almost 12 years of prospecting that the channel has done for us. So that's why we're doing the amount of volume we're doing, is because the prospecting is not dependent upon us. It's truly passive prospecting. We all like the idea of passive income, right? So, but it takes a lot of work to ever get to that point, to have something that generates for you on the back end. It takes a lot longer usually to generate passive income, but this, I can create a 30-minute video, and it starts, as soon as that video's been watched 31 minutes, I've profited 1 minute of my time. So I don't look at video as taking time. I look at it as making time. It's the most important thing I can do in my business because it scales myself. And if you've ever asked yourself or told yourself, I just wish there was more of me. Anybody ever said that? Say aye. Aye. Okay. Few of you, well, make a video and guess what? You have another one of you. Make another video and you've got 2 of you. Make 3 videos, you've got 3 of you. Make 4 videos, you've got 4 of you. And then imagine whenever, like we do, we've got 375 videos on the channel now. There's 375 versions, and that's not even 1-to-1, because 100, 1,000, 10,000 people could watch that one video at the exact same time. So that's compounding. So we are truly compounding time and turning, our prospecting 1 day into 2.1 months, 1 month into 1.34 years, and 1 year into 1.2 decades worth of prospecting. So What it really comes down to, active prospecting, it's hard, right? This is why all sales training exists. It's why you're here today, to learn how to better develop your skills, establish rapport, build credibility, develop relationships with people, right? That's why anytime we meet people, it's typically through interruption marketing. And so what do? We have to build rapport with them, so hopefully they'll know, like, and trust us, and maybe they'll do business with us one day down the road. But the thing is that active prospecting comes with that ton of rejection. For me, I felt like I always spent 90% of my time doing it. I've been in sales for 20 plus years, loved sales, hated prospecting, but I was always good at sales because I was willing to be the best prospector. But sometimes you're just like, if you don't do it for a day, sometimes you're going, I'm getting behind, right? Oh, I missed yesterday, now I've got to make up for it. It's always this constant battle where you're going after it. But passive prospecting, this is really easy, right? This is zero rejection, by the way. Still to this day, not a single person has ever called me and said, Levi, I hate your videos, therefore I'm not going to do business with you. Just doesn't happen. I don't even know. They don't exist. So clients walk themselves through the entire sales process. The video is what builds the relationship for us. People say we're in the relationship business all the time. Well, that doesn't mean you have to go out and shake hands and kiss babies just to build relationships. The video builds that relationship for us because whenever the clients call us, they've already made the decision that they want to work with us. And that will completely change your business on its own. So I'll show you a couple examples, like these emails that we get. You saw the one we get from out of country. These are ones we get every day. But I want you to notice the amount of volume of the emails. Okay, when's the last time somebody cold emailed you and told you their life story and told you every single thing you needed to know and you didn't have to drag it out of them, right? When's the last time any of your marketing campaigns did that for you? But look at these key phrases. It's like, we would like to check with you to see if you'd help us find a home. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for your time. I look forward to hearing. If you have some time to talk about this, feel free. So not only do they give us everything we need to know, they're asking, do you have time to sell me a house? You look so busy on video. Do you have time to work with me? And it gets even better because we would get these phone calls, and I included this in here just so you could hear it. Now tell me, has any of your marketing campaigns ever gotten people to pick up the phone and call you and say these types of things?
Hi Levi, is this the Living in Dallas, Texas YouTube channel?
That's me.
Are you guys the folks on the YouTube channel, right?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. I know exactly who I'm talking to then.
But this is regarding the Living in Dallas, Texas channel, right?
But are you guys on the videos, on the YouTube videos?
Yeah, that's me.
It's good talking to you.
Wait, I saw some of your videos and that's how I found you, so actually very helpful.
Thank you. My good videos on YouTube and caught our interest. I'm posting on YouTube a very interesting where you share the information.
I don't know if we should ask for autograph or something. On YouTube, like you're a superstar.
I reached out to you guys because I've been watching your YouTube videos.
Hey, this is Dr. I've been looking at your videos on YouTube.
I feel like I'm talking to a movie star. Just saw your YouTube video. Actually, did a lot of calls like this.
Like some of your videos, literally the first video I see, so I'm just like, let me call this guy. Let me text this to him.
Thank you, and have a nice video.
We were really impressed, and that's why we wanted to get in touch with you.
I saw your videos, and it actually helped me.
We liked your videos and your knowledge and energy level.
All the information that you gave us on the YouTube channel about both of those spots, it looks good.
You watched pretty much all your videos.
I found you through YouTube actually. I've been watching a lot of your videos lately.
Hey, let me commend you, man. Good job on that.
Great videos on YouTube. Yes, and I've been looking at your stuff and it's been helpful.
Your YouTube channel helps out a lot. I like watching videos, kind of lay in the land,
You make great videos, by the way. I enjoy watching them.
You learned a great deal just watching your YouTube videos, which are amazing, by the way.
I found your information super helpful.
I like what you say in your videos. They're also talk about for investment.
A no-brainer because you're also well-informed, but I really like your stuff.
Videos and content, really good style, and really informative.
We watch your videos religiously, so I use them.
So, thank you. I impressed one person. She's like, oh, thank you. 3 or 4 more. All right. But have you ever picked up the phone and heard, have clients just excited to talk to you from your postcard campaign? Probably not. Now, postcards do work, and I'm not here to knock postcards, but I'm just saying, imagine how your business would change every time you picked up the phone. You heard them. They're already excited. And that was just a few of the calls we clipped. I mean, we have hundreds of them. Every time we picked up the phone, they were surprised I was the one that answered the phone. First of all, so that told me right there, that allowed me, gave me the comfort to get out of answering the phone later on down the road. But I answered the first 350 calls that came in. Every single one of them was surprised I was the one answering the phone. They were already expecting to work with a team member. So that also told me, gave me confidence to be able to scale that later on. So that's a good opportunity right there. So that's what happens every single day in our business right there. And so this is where somebody's hitting the projector there. So this is where we discovered the passive prospecting process. This is where you're really going to want to take some notes. I'll show you a few things like on the channel. So whenever I was looking into the channel, I really, I started to dig in. So I do something that I call hyper learning, which anytime I want to learn a subject, there's enough information out there right now through blogs, YouTube, books, everything that you need. If you study a subject for about 60 days, I believe you can really learn a lot. Probably be better than 99% of the people out there. So I studied YouTube. So I started with these ideas in place so that I knew exactly how to start the channel. But key things, first of all, I didn't name it after myself because Levi Lascsak is not a good search term. It's actually no search term. And my last name is Polish. It's impossible to say, even more impossible to spell. So it's not a very marketable name. But again, nobody knew who I was. Same for Travis. He was brand new as well. So the thing is that I started to look at search terms and find out what's the most, because whenever I started to understand that YouTube was a search engine, not a social media platform, that's what made sense to me, right? So I said, okay, what's the top search terms related to Dallas, Texas real estate? Well, living in Dallas, Texas was actually the top search term, even over Dallas, Texas real estate. I would have named the channel Dallas, Texas real estate if that was the top search term, but it wasn't at the time. And so, whatever, and this is not the same for every other area. So I'm not saying this is the exact same thing for your market. You have to find out what's the most searched item if you want to even name your channel that. So it just depends. Could you do it with your name? Probably so. And the more and more I look at it, maybe channel name is not that big of a deal, but otherwise, this is just how I started, and that was my belief at the beginning. But otherwise, we give a call to action here. Most agents, if I look at channels, I'll see their name, I'll see their brokerage logo or their logo, I see phone number, call me, text me, buy, sell, invest. It's almost like a billboard. And think about it, what value do you derive from a billboard? Does it really tell you what you're looking for, what you need to know? But remember, people are on YouTube researching. So if they come to this channel and they're trying to learn about living in Dallas, Texas, what does it tell them? It tells them, you're here to learn about living in Dallas, Texas. That's a value-driven statement, right? That's not a premature sales pitch of, hey, here's my phone number, email, call, and text me, even though I haven't directly provided you value just yet. So now this makes them comfortable. Okay, all right, I'm in the right place because I want to learn about this. On the left-hand side, we created this visual. We started to get a lot of calls from California, Illinois, New York, right? So people wanting to move to Texas, which is great. So we just created that little visual. Again, it just helps them know that they're in the right place. Even, we made a little yellow taxi coming from New York, all those business people coming from Illinois, and then all the hippies in the green station wagon coming from California, right? No, sorry. No, I'm just kidding, No, they're coming from Oregon, right? So a lot of Subarus up there, But over here too, we're both veterans. Travis and myself are both combat veterans. And so, if you're a part of some association that's not too offensive, maybe you put something up there that does build some credibility or rapport. Most people like working with veterans, so we include that up there. But here's the key thing, let's meet in person on Zoom. That's why we get so many Zoom calls where people will just book on our calendar every day because they want to meet in person on Zoom. But that's the only link up there. Now, this is the #1 link clicked on our channel. So most agents will put Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can have 5 links up there. #1, that could create decision, indecision. #2, you work so hard to get them to your YouTube channel in the first place. Why distract them to a short form platform where they're probably going to end up watching cat videos anyways, So if you take them over there, then they're going to be off platform, and one thumb swipe and you're on cat videos. It doesn't necessarily feed one of your videos right next to it if they click over to that. So, you know, are you trying to generate business from YouTube or are you trying to get followers on Instagram? You have to think about what are your goals and what are you trying to achieve with this channel. And for us, it's to book a call. We want conversion. My only goal starting this channel was, can we make the phone ring? Period. It wasn't subscribers, it wasn't views, it wasn't worried about that. It was, can we make the phone ring? That's what we're looking for. So we design our channel around that. Then you got content creation strategies. So there's several of them, but these are kind of the top 4. These can work in any market. You know, you saw that phone call, you know, montage was really me out in neighborhoods. The thing is would you believe all of that was shot on my iPhone as well? Looked like some pretty good video footage, right? All that was done on an iPhone. So you don't need a lot of fancy equipment. A $20 tripod. I actually have it in my bag all the time. This is like 20 bucks off of Amazon. And I can just pop this up and put my iPhone in there. And that's how I make neighborhood videos. And whenever I hold that just off to the side, it's almost as if I'm walking that person through the neighborhood. So anybody can go online. You know, everyone's always concerned about, you know, iBuyer platforms or AI is going to take my job. Well, increase the value you provide to people and you'll be irreplaceable. So anybody can go online and look at, you know, pictures on iBuyer platforms, right? They can look at the inside and outside of homes. Maybe they can go on Google Street View and start looking at homes or walk down the street, but you know, 2 wrong clicks and you end up in somebody's trash can, right? And then you can't get out of there. So what's the real value? But whenever I go out in neighborhoods, just walking around, you know, showing them not just that, you know, houses, but the house next door, the house down the street, the community center, the pool, you know, the Chipotle and Chick-fil-A around the corner, the 2 most important restaurants, right? So all that is relevant and they feel like they're walking with me through the neighborhood. So vlog tours are very important. Can you get away with not doing them? Probably so. I've seen some channels that have done that. That brings us to like the map tour. I mean, anybody can go online and look at a map of Dallas. It's not rocket science, but they can get my perspective and my viewpoints and my experience and my stories just by putting a map on a screen share and walking them through that and talking them through different areas. They're some of our most watched videos. In my opinion, boring, but to somebody about to buy a home, very interesting, very informative. Pros and cons, you know, may sound cheesy, but people want to know about the good and the bad of living in an area. Top 5 neighborhoods, top 6 suburbs. I mean, any type of like list video or anything like that is going to draw attention. People kind of like that countdown. It's really good for retention as well because people always want to know what's number 2, what's number 3, what's number 1. So walking through that. But this is one of the most important things on YouTube is search engine optimization. This is what I learned through researching quite a bit is that everything matters on YouTube, everything. So even thumbnails. Thumbnails are probably, if not the most important thing on YouTube because we are visual creatures. Our eyes can process an image in 0.7 of a second. So when you pop up YouTube, guess what you're looking at? Thumbnails. Guess what happens when you go on Netflix? What are you looking at? Thumbnails. Yep, ever thought of those as thumbnails? That's what they are. And what do? You sit there and you scroll around, and you're looking at, you know, you're looking at all of them, you're like, okay, what do I watch now? And then you end up scrolling around for 30 minutes. But here, you know, we A/B test everything, titles, thumbnails, but this is really most important is because this tells us what the viewers want, not what do we want, and not even what do we think. I mean, we may think we've got a really good thumbnail, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't get the clicks in the first place. So we can use softwares that flip-flop thumbnails every other day and then tell us which one is better, which one gets more clicks. But this is very important. You know, this one just changing up something simple, just like I, you know, put a little curse word over my mouth or, you know, a fake curse word. I thought that one would actually do better, but it didn't. Okay, and the original beat it by 20%. That adds up over time. May not seem like much, but it adds up over time. This one, really big deal. I mean, 387% more clicks than the original. That is a big deal. And now you think about it, that's got me thinking because the first one wasn't getting a lot of clicks because most people call us about this city called Frisco in Dallas. Well, that's where most people want to move to. Great schools, everything's new, nice homes, communities, and it's very popular. But Fairview is right next door. It's actually got better homes, it's got bigger lots, it's got a better school district, but nobody ever asks about it. It's like completely unknown. So whenever I put that on the thumbnail and then I changed it up with the new Frisco, guess what attracted the attention? Exactly, 300, that's a big deal. But even on this last one, look at this, 648% more clicks than the original just by changing up the picture a little bit. But YouTube likes a click-through rate of anywhere from 2 to 10%. So if your videos are 2 to 10% plus, if your videos don't fall within that range, you may be making great videos, but if they don't get the clicks in the first place, your video is not going to go anywhere. And that's going to directly tell YouTube whenever they push your video out there, if nobody clicks on it, they're going to be like, okay, not a good one. So if I would have left it on this one, it got 0.78% clicks, less than 2%. YouTube would have likely never promoted that video. But because I had an alternate and it got 5.8, that's right in the middle of what YouTube likes to see. I'll get to questions at the end if that's okay. And so that's what they like to see. Therefore, YouTube pushed that video out and it got a lot of views and brought us a lot of business. So search engine optimization really does matter on the back end. Then it comes to lead conversion. If you have to do anything twice in your business, you better have a system, process, a campaign, or a trigger to do that for you. I've never referred somebody to our lender twice. I did that one time, wrote the email one time, and anytime somebody has to be referred to the lender, they get moved in the CRM. So that automatically triggers the email to go to the lender, to the client, to the agent, to the TC, everybody that needs to be involved. Same thing with every process we have throughout our whole CRM, whether they're coming into town, pre-approved, anything like that at all. We have the system and process set up for that for all the campaigns, so we're not going in there and doing it manually. So that's very important. Then we started to ask, okay, could we do this, elsewhere? Is it just us? Is it just us, or can we help other people to do that? Kyler posted here the other day. He's done way more than that. This is whenever he started his first 10 months. He did 12.5 million, over 22 homes sold from his channel down in Houston. So, all right, it works next door. That's pretty cool. Does it work in other countries? Yep, we got Rochelle in Toronto who did 16 transactions in 6 months. Actually, her videos have way more views than us because she's better at making videos. Yeah, no, she's super cool, super cool. But yeah, I mean, she had some videos that took off significantly, but she does a lot of business now. Been in the business for 8 years, cold calling and door knocking and doing those types of things. Heard us talking once. We were talking to a friend of hers at a conference, Travis and I, and she was in the background. Didn't even know she was listening in. She was just like off to the side listening. She's like, oh, well, I'm tired of cold calling. I'm going to go do that. And so, asked us for some help, and she started doing really well. Now here she posted this, hey, in the last 7 days I closed 1.6 million volume, currently working with 1.3 million buy sell. Started a team to help me keep up with the leads. Agent is newly licensed. She closed 4 deals in her first month. Over 200 leads in their first 9 months from the deal. Christopher, he's in Northwest Georgia. So those of you in a small market, does this work? Well, yeah, because he's the first and only one still in his market in Northwest Georgia that makes YouTube videos. So guess what he does? Brand new agent, came from nursing, got completely burned out during 2020 and decided, I don't want to be a nurse anymore. No sales experience, no real estate experience. But he said, I can make some videos. And, doesn't have a ton of subscribers, but it doesn't matter. Doing quite a bit of business and closed quite a bit in his first year. He posted this the other day. He's like, I just got a 1.45 million pre-approved lead in the funnel today. Already looking at homes. Jonathan, he's in California. So everybody says, well, everybody's leaving my state in California. Well, guess what? If you live outside of LA or San Fran, a lot of them are moving within the state. So he lives in Temecula outside of LA. So guess where he gets a lot of relocation business from? LA and San Fran. So people are not necessarily leaving California. They're leaving those metro areas that are, becoming a little lenient on some things that they probably shouldn't, depending on how you feel about that. But, he's able to do in his first 11 months, and he started his channel last year around August, September, right when the market shifted. So not the best time, right? Interest rates shot up, and it seemed like everybody took a step back. All the buyers just kind of disappeared, but he was like, you know what? I want to do something different. Started his channel in his first 11 months to do over 160K. So, and, if we go on and on and on, these stories are happening more and more and more and more and more. Where David, yeah, he just a little over 2 months, got his first deal under contract, $430,000. I mean, they just keep happening. Contact under contract, 10 days. Again, these people are intentional. We see this over and over again. I love the Gleasons. They got one of my favorite stories because they've been in business for 18 years, buying leads, probably like a lot of us have done. Buying leads for 18 years, moved to Virginia to retire, come from the West Coast, moved to Virginia to retire. What did they not want to do? Well, they didn't want to really fully retire, but they also didn't want to buy leads. But then they thought, you know what? We want to explore the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia where they moved to. Beautiful area, mountains, everything going on. And they're like, they saw this. They saw this opportunity and they said, we could make some YouTube videos and it gets us out and about and we get to explore our neighborhoods and areas. And this is something that people tell me all the time. Sometimes when you move to a new area or new market, you have an even more of an advantage because now you're going to relate more to people. But people tell me all the time, you know, this has been one of the best things for my business because I've learned so much about my neighborhoods and communities because I research them more to make videos. I want to make sure I'm giving good information, factual information. And so now they've said, look, we've learned so much about our area and have got out and explored and we're not, you know, we feel retired, but now we're generating business. We're not buying leads and we're making videos and they're having a hoot and they're in their 60s. So it's never too late. Never started a YouTube channel. You know, and that's what people will ask as well. Is it too late? You know, am I too old? Am I too young? Am I too this or that? And it's like, no, because guess what? There's only one you. There's only one you. Every year does HGTV say, we probably shouldn't come out with more real estate shows. No, they come out with a new real estate show every single year, right? Do you think HGTV is worried about saturating their channel with real estate shows? And guess what it is? It's a new couple, it's a new city, it's older homes, it's newer homes. So they know content is king. The more they diversify on their channel, the more of an audience they're going to build. But people, does somebody who watch one real estate channel watch all real estate channels? No. And if you watch any of those real estate shows and you had to buy a house, does everybody have their favorite real estate TV personality? Probably so. Some may say Ryan Serhant, some may say Josh Altman for whatever reason. No. Some may say, Chip and Joanna. If you had to buy a home, you may watch all those shows, but you could only call one agent. So if there's 5 or 10 people in your market already doing this, does that mean it's over? No chance for you? No. Because guess what? Most of those people, you probably say, well, nobody wants to do business. Everyone wants to do business with me, right? But people find people that they want to work with, that they know, like, and trust through video. And they'll say, hey, that person's a lot like me. They kind of look like me. They kind of sound like me. I think we like the same things. That's the person I'm going to call. So it doesn't matter really about how many people are doing it. It matters, are you doing it or not? Because if you don't put videos on YouTube, I will promise you, you will never get a call from a possible YouTube client because you won't be there. So this happens over and over and over again. Austin's up in Tacoma, Washington. He crushes it. I mean, in 1 week, 4 listing referrals, 6 buyer consultations, 5 pre-approved buyers, 2 buyers. I mean, it's crazy. Denny in 9 months, $140K. He's in Atlanta. Chris Snow, one of my other favorite stories, he's in Jacksonville, Florida. Chris had a channel for 5 years with 22 subscribers. So those of you that have a channel and you're wondering, can I revive this? Well, 5 years, 22 subscribers, I would have quit, okay? I would have quit on that one. But he just was not doing them correctly. He knew nothing about SEO, nothing about optimization, nothing about creating the right content. Within 6 months, we helped him get up to 600 subscribers. But more importantly, he's already closing deals under contract. He's got 20 people, he says, that are right on the fence. As soon as interest rates move like a slight percentage point, he's got 20 people, and he's got another 40 in the pipeline that tell him they plan to move this year. So it's about filling that pipeline. And once you get this momentum going, it's hard to turn that off. So we have a BHAG. We've got a big, hairy, audacious goal, and we want to help 100 agents. More than that, but we really want to help 100 agents. I mean, that's the thing, to build their own channels. That way they never have to worry about, where their next deal has come from. That's really the most important thing, is whenever you have constant and consistent leads coming in on a daily basis of people that want to work with you, it's a complete game changer for you there. So you've seen our BHAG, how to build your channel, content creation, optimization. lead conversion. A lot of times this is where someone says, okay, that's a lot. I don't know if I can do all of that. It's always a little overwhelming when you get started, but what if we could do all of this with you? That's my question for you today. So this is where we built out passive production process. You film the video, we build the channel, we publish, we support, we edit, we optimize, everything in there. So if I can, I'm going to close up with this real quick, a short story, and then we can open up for Q&A at the end. So I think I'm okay on time. Yep. So I don't know. Have you ever charted your life on a graph? Probably not. Probably not. I just did it for this presentation. But if your life is a lot like my life, it's probably full of ups and downs. All right. And so that's just the way it works. But it's funny. I had a friend who's trying to get me into real estate 20 years ago. We sold gym memberships together at Bally Total Fitness. I grew up in a small town 2 hours south of Dallas. And is it okay if I tell you the story real quick? Okay. Just want to make sure. So, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. But growing up in this small town, not a lot going on there, right? If you're not milking cows or riding bulls, there's really not much else to do there. So my parents didn't go to college. 2 older brothers didn't go to college. And I didn't know how I was going to do anything. So I was like, oh, I'll join the military, get some money for college. That'll be a good idea. So whenever I did that, that led me to Dallas whenever I got out of the military and got my first job selling memberships at Bally Total Fitness. But you know what happened on September 11th? And shortly after that, I was still in the reserves and I ended up getting deployed. And so whenever I got deployed, I spent a year over in Iraq, 12 months there. And, that's not the ideal work environment. I'll just say that. We were in the middle of Baghdad. We did combat patrols, quick reaction force, everything that you could imagine there. And, we lost a couple of our team members there. And the thing is in Iraq, like, you don't get days off. You don't get time to mourn. You don't get time to feel sorry for yourself. You have to complete the mission. Like, you can't just lay in bed one day and say, I don't really feel like going to work. Now, every day you probably felt like not going to work, but you weren't going to do that. So it was a complete change in perspective and mindset, and that really shifted my perspective, especially at an early age whenever I went there in my early 20s. So the thing is, the other problem, though, is I came home from Iraq with the digestive disease. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is just to know that this, all of this just didn't happen overnight. There's been a progression here. There's been wins, there's been losses. And it's really bad, but I came home with the digestive disease from Iraq, and it messed with me for about 8 years until 2013, and then I ended up losing 50 pounds in a single month. And I became completely bedridden and disabled, and this nearly killed me. And it was really, by God's grace, I found a natural doctor, and that doctor was able to, get me back to health after 4 different medical doctors could not get me better. Threw me on medications, antibiotics, everything, couldn't get me better, but I was able to recover from that 100%. That was 10 years ago. That's whenever I was 33 years old. So you see, you never know sometimes. Whenever I was in the reserves, did not expect September 11th to happen, and that got me deployed. Whenever I was 33, never expected to become completely bedridden and disabled, and that happened. Took me out of the picture. Traveled the world, started because I realized I'd never been anywhere, and so then I started traveling the world and built up this financial services business only for it to shut down because I worked with all the teachers at schools for their retirement planning, and then all the schools shut down in 2020. So all these different times, the reason I share this with you is because each time outside forces or something took me out of the business stopped. It didn't keep going. And if you don't have the right systems and processes in place and you're taken out of the picture, or if you're not, if your prospecting is constantly relying on you, then you don't have a business, you have a job. And so if you actually want to build something that will take you out of the picture and allow you to spend time with your friends and family and not have to worry about those types of things, you have to put something in place that's going to work for you. And so over the summer of 20, the funny thing is that I've made financial investments before. I show this here is because I invested all this money over the summer of 2020 because I did not want to become a real estate agent. Really, my friends were telling me, hey, you should become an agent. It's either that or toilet paper sales, right, in 2020? And I was like, well, okay, I don't want to do that. So, I invested in these Amazon stores and mentorships and masterminds and courses, and none of them really worked out. But I spent over $200,000 during that summer trying to figure out different ways to generate business. And when it came down to, well, it looks like I'm going to be a real estate agent, I had to think differently. I had to think, how am I going to attract business? I was actually scared to death about going out and starting over. I was 41 years old. I didn't want to prospect again. I didn't want to do that. I've been doing it my whole life. And how do I do something different? So, that led to, a lot of opportunity. You've seen the success that we've been able to generate. And all that came from just a YouTube channel. But more importantly, the passive prospecting idea, that concept comes from creating a video one time, publishing it, and then allowing it to do the work for you. That's why we're at these conferences. We're not worried about missing out on business. The phone's still ringing right now. You saw I had the back end of my channel pulled up live. There was 100 people watching videos right now. So I'm prospecting to 100 people right this second. You have to ask yourself, are you? Probably not. But if you have the right systems in place at home or the right channel to do that for you, then it will. So you're going to have to choose your hard, right? You got to make decisions. It's hard working out, but to me it's a lot harder being sick. It's hard owning a business, but to me it's a lot harder having a job. And it's hard making videos, but to me it's a lot harder making calls. So you're going to have to choose your hard, but you don't have to convince me the value of video because I understand the value of video. And in 1 year, made 160 videos and made $1 million. Well, that's worth $6,200 a video. If I offered you $6,200 to make a video, would you make a video? Absolutely. Well, in year 2, we did that and made less videos. So wait a second. You worked less and made more? Yes, that's the opportunity. It's a compound effect. But in 2022, we made $15,000 a video. If I offered you $15,000 to make a video, would you make a video? Probably so. So it comes down to what you believe. I believe if you're not where you want to be, you just haven't learned something yet. I believe if you can hyper-learn that subject in 60 days, and if you take massive action and really focus on that, then you can completely change your business. For us, we've seen it happen over and over and over again, especially with other people. And this is how it started, okay? I wasn't some YouTube guru, but I started a channel like 10 years ago documenting my health journey. And I had no idea what I was doing. Look at my head's cut off. I don't even have a beard. I look weird. I'm a little heavier there. I got a thermostat in the background, really cool YouTube backdrop, right? I had the neon lights going. But what did I do? I made some videos and I didn't know what I was doing. Didn't get a lot of traction. So what did I do? I stopped making videos. Didn't know what I was doing, where I was going. And so that's how it starts for all of us. And I didn't try again for another 10 years. But this time I became intentional about making videos. And I wanted to understand and learn. And I knew there was an opportunity here to way to turn over business. And so we built out this whole program on here, everything step-by-step process of how to do this and to do this in your market. And the question is not, if we're going to help somebody in your market, we will. The question is will that be you? And will you have a YouTube channel in your market? So we walk through everything, a whole complete video tutorial, screen sharing, step-by-step process, how you do this, everything that you need to know. That's not even half the modules in there. We have so many other bonus modules. We teach you about Pinterest, WordPress, Google My Business, a Google Maps app, all kinds of things that you can also be using to drive business to your business for that awareness. We have training calendars built in there, all in that system. And so we'll open it up to Q&A, but here's your opportunity. If you want to learn how to do this in your market and get a little bit more, then book a call with the team and we'll talk and see if they have availability in your market and if it's something that might be a good fit for you. But again, as I said earlier, I know that if you don't put any videos on YouTube, you definitely will not get calls from YouTube. But if you're going to be in business longer than a year, or if there's more than a year left in your career, then you should be on YouTube. And this may not take over your whole business. I mean, it generates most of our business for us. It doesn't have to do that for you, but you have to ask yourself, would 1, 2, or 3, or 4 extra transactions a month change your business? And that's the opportunity. What if you can make a couple of videos per week, less than a couple of hours, and they start to prospect for you? And like a lot of people that we work with, once this starts to overtake, guess what? They're happy to stop cold calling. They're happy to stop door knocking. They're happy to stop sending out postcards. Not that you don't have to, but this is going to completely change your business when you get those inbound calls, those emails, those texts of people that want to work with you. It only takes one call to really put in perspective what's going to happen. So thank you for joining us today. Make sure you book a call, and then also there's yes. Okay, all right, we got questions. All right, thank you.
Okay, first question. What platform are you using or software are you using for testing your thumbnails? Spill the beans.
Yeah, it's called TubeBuddy.
TubeBuddy. Okay, I already
Yep.
used that.
Okay.
So interesting.
You might have to upgrade if you haven't seen the thumbnail tester on it or the A/B tester. You probably have to.
I'm not. I feel like if I took one down, it affected like what I was doing. So I'll need to look.
Yeah, and if you haven't, you can use Passive Prospecting Buddy 25, and that'll give you a 25% discount.
Okay, and number 2 is with my YouTube. I've built it. I am the face of it, right? I'm attracting clients to me, which you're doing to yourself as well. So, are you at the point yet where you're passing off this business to other agents in your team, or are you actually running this business with these leads to the finish line as the person they call?
So what I'm about to say will excite half of you, and it will anger the other half. I got out of production after one house.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
But that's the problem is having that process to where you can hand them off in an eloquent way where they're not like, oh,
yeah, I mean, well, so I took the first 350 calls because I wanted to be involved in the process. I started working with Travis, and what happened was as those calls started to come in, I wanted to understand the full process, how it was work, have those conversations. I was prepared to go the distance, but I met Travis at that time. We started to kind of work together, hang out. And he was the one that was like, hey, let me show him around town. Let me open some doors. Let me write some contracts. So immediately I just said, okay, cool, you're coming here, or you're going to meet with Travis. I would just say that. And they'd be like, cool, no problem. So that transition was very easy. Then the next transition was, can I stop answering the phone? And again, I learned in the first 350 calls, they weren't expecting me to answer anyways. They were always surprised. So that gave me comfort to do that. So then it was pass that on to team members. So they would answer the calls. And we were just talking with our team the other day, and we were doing a training, and I asked one of them about this, and I said, what's it like to just answer the straight call from YouTube? You know, are they asking about me, what's going on? And they said, no. They said, actually, they're expecting not to even talk to you. They feel like you're the YouTube guy, yeah. And so they're just happy to be working with somebody on the team. You know, so same thing. I mean, if you call up Ryan Serhant's office because you love watching $1 Million Listing, you're probably going to get put with a team member, right? Unless you got a $50 million budget. So yeah, the transition is fine. I think just as long as you have the right systems and processes in place, then and the ball doesn't get dropped, then you'll be okay.
Do you put any of those agents on your team on your channel so that people become introduced to them?
We have, yeah, we have. But you know, the thing is that as you know how agents get, right? As soon as they get good, they're like, okay, all right, yeah, see ya. So you got to be mindful of that. I'm not worried about it though. So we've done it. It's nice for them to contribute. They've got to be mostly good on camera. You know, you don't want to just. So they've got to put some effort. So I would do a little bit of training with them or something, or go out and work with them a little bit first. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Our channel right now is called Think Real Estate, which is the name of our team.
Okay.
And it's starting to monetize. We're starting to sell a couple sales. Average price point's about $1.5 million. It's a team. I have a team of 18 agents. And I'm really at a crossroads. I don't know what to do. If I should rebrand this as like a Los Angeles-based channel, or keep it as the team name channel. Do you see a big benefit? Or
It's just called Fate Team.
Think.
Think.
Yeah, Think Real Estate is our.
Oh, Think Team. Okay, Think Real Estate.
It's a hodgepodge of stuff. It's got some good content, a lot of crappy content. But it's starting to, we got about 1,000 subscribers, and it's just starting to get going.
Okay.
Already scheduled to call with you guys.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if the channel name, again, I thought this was a really big deal in the beginning. I'm not sure if it really matters. I think it does come down more to the videos and how they're edited, how they're optimized, the key search terms that go along with the videos. So if it's Think Real Estate, it's called Think Real Estate. You know, if it says Think Real Estate, I mean, I don't know, that's kind of a cool name. So I don't know if that's a really big deal or matters on there.
It's not city-centric like a lot of other people are.
Well, in the beginning, depending on the size of your channel's not really probably going to be searchable anyways. So it took us almost a year for the channel to become a preferred search channel. So that comes up with a lot of build-up on there. But if you want to do it, I mean, earlier would be better, but it's something if we work with you on that, we'll take a look at it. Yep. Yes?
So when you're planning your content, do you use any type of script? And when you're editing, is it like more natural or you do a lot of edits so the video is perfect?
I mean, I've never edited a video, so I've always outsourced that even from the beginning. So even though I had zero marketing budget, I had an editing budget to start out because I'm not an editor and I didn't want to learn how to edit and I didn't want to, I just didn't want to do it. So I set aside an editing budget for that. Scripting, we never scripted videos. I think for me, I dreaded thinking about actually writing out a script in the first place and how that would be and then loading it up in basically a teleprompter. You'd have to do that. I think that takes a lot more work versus bullet pointing something because, which is how we really recommend you create content, is having the bullet points of what you want to talk about, because hopefully you know your market or your area well enough that if I ask you one question, or weather or traffic or home prices or cost of living, I mean, if you can talk for 2 or 3 minutes about that subject, then you've got enough information there to make a video. So if you write down your bullet points of all the things you want to discuss and you think about just talking about them for 2 to 3 minutes, it should be much easier to do that than versus trying to script everything. But it really comes down to what you're comfortable with. I mean, if you're able, now you got ChatGPT. That wasn't even there when we started. So you could say, write me a script for, living in Dallas, Texas. And it'll write one for you and then you could read that. But I think authenticity comes through the camera as well. So the more natural you can be, probably the better, would just be my recommendation. Yes? Yeah, we have a team that does that as well. Yep. Yeah, if you want to work, if you don't want to work with our team, then I would say go watch a bunch of YouTube videos on how to edit. Which we don't teach people how to edit for that reason. You could go to YouTube and watch a ton of videos, but we offer a done-for-you service. So, which the team knows exactly how to edit, optimize, do thumbnails, tags, titles, descriptions, everything. So that way you can just create content. If you create content, that our editing team will take care of everything on the back end. And they're already trained. If you try to hire an editor, you can do that on Fiverr, Upwork, or something like that. They'll have no clue about editing, optimization, SEO, all that stuff. So then you would still have to do that portion. So you may find a cheaper price, but then you're also spending your time doing those types of things. That's it?
Question.
Okay.
Great presentation. Are you mostly attracting buyer clients, or how does that work with sellers and in this market of low inventory? How are you effectively servicing those people who are calling you? Like, are you having any trouble with that?
No, we're not having problems doing that. I think it's one of the best times for buyers right now because even though interest rates are high, there's still a lot of concessions, things that you can negotiate in there. I think sellers are a lot more willing to negotiate at this moment. So there's bigger, Yeah, there's opportunity there. But yeah, in the beginning, I think you're going to be definitely a lot more buyer heavy. And as you gain more traction, you'll start turning that more into listings. And if you feature listings on the channel, then that has a way to attract it. But most people that live locally that would sell usually don't research locally on YouTube, right? They know the areas, they live there. So you do attract a lot of out-of-state clients. But in our opinion, they're the best clients to work with. Very intentional, make decisions very quickly. You saw they turn over, they'll buy. This isn't their first rodeo, and they're just very, very motivated to make a move. So it's a different kind of buyer. It's not like the local buyer that has a $150,000 budget with $500,000 taste that wants to see 85 homes. It's not that type of person. These are, exactly.
And
So.
I just share too, there's definitely a strategy to whether you're targeting buyers or sellers, because I do get buyer leads because I post a lot of listing videos specific to that. Yeah.
Yep. Good? All right, y'all are dedicated. We know who's going to be successful on YouTube.
Great. Hi,
Yeah.
Tiffany. Very nice to meet you.
Good to meet you as well.
Thank you. Great.